Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Can we talk about Gem and the Holograms? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, everyone. Welcome to our CWTAJ. Once again, the Can We Talk About podcast here. And if you don't know already, we are a podcast of many faces. It's most prominent at this state. Not really a review, not an in-depth analysis, but mostly two children of the 1990s picking apart a cartoon that was made before they were born. That cartoon is, of course, 80s, air quotes classic, the neon nightmare that is Gem and the Holograms. Now, I am a man not qualified to do much of anything. My name is Joe.
I'm Kristen, the official Top It and Bop It aficionado of the podcast.
And we are experiencing Gem and the Holograms via Shout Factory's Gem and the Holograms, a truly outrageous, complete series, a box set, and the wonderful world of Netflix. Kristen, how's Netflix going?
I think they're doing pretty well.
Well, I mean, they're doing a thing now where, starting tomorrow, and this is dating the podcast a bit, they're increasing the price monthly.
Is that the thing where it's catching up for old subscribers?
Yeah,
where it was lower for a while.
Yeah, I looked at we had a grandfathered in price because we started getting Netflix in like 2010. But even now they're like, no, you got to pay. I don't even know what it is, $9.99, like the rest of everyone.
You had your time. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. $9.99's okay, whatever.
Netflix is good. We use it a lot.
Netflix is good. I do like Netflix. This week, Kristen, there is a clash. One that does not involve the character clash.
Shit.
It's a clash of cultures, and I thought about it a little bit. Is this episode kind of like the opposite of Old Meets New?
Where instead of like an old rock legend, it's yuppies instead?
It's yuppies and their terrible fascination with shitty artsy art.
And my other name for this episode is the Yuppie Eric Show.
Which, it's too bad. Eric doesn't show up too much, but when he does, he shows off just how much of a fucking cocaine swelling Wall Street guy he is.
It's really funny. That's my favorite part of this episode.
Yes, I know that we've talked a lot of shit on this episode, but rewatching, it's definitely bad, but there are some bright spots.
Yeah, we agreed before we started recording that knowing what the hell this episode actually was this time prepared us for it, whereas the first time we rewatched it recently, we were like, what was this episode again? And then we went, oh! No, thank you.
So let's hope that you had sort of the same experience where it was horrible and terrible when you watched it, but then, thanks to us here, you might have a little bit more of an appreciation for it, even though it's still incredibly stupid.
Still not Renaissance Woman.
Still not Renaissance Woman, which we will actually... we're going to play the theme song here, and boy, do I have news for you, Kristen, about Renaissance Woman.
Uh-oh.
So this episode, as we are wont to start, this is an episode written by David Wise, who is a guy who wrote a few episodes of Transformers. He wrote a few episodes of Batman the Animated Series, which some pretty good ones, too. He had the Clock King episode. He had the origin story for the Riddler, which was a pretty good episode, too. And he also wrote Renaissance Woman.
I didn't read ahead in your notes to that part, so that was an accidental joining of worlds that I made. And man, I can see it.
I mean, I think this is a fact that I talked to you about before, but yes, David Wise has written 2 episodes of Gem, probably my 2 least favorite episodes of the series.
And when I saw the opening credits, I wrote down, David Not So Wise.
David Not So Wise here, starting us off. We are at an event somewhere. The press and photographers are waiting for them. Is it the airport, actually?
It's an airport,
It's
probably.
An airport. Yeah, okay, I thought so. And they immediately establish, which is actually pretty good, so good on you, David Wise, for doing this. One of the reporter people goes, "How long will you be in New York?"
Jim's like, just for 2 weeks.
We're here to shoot a music video. Well, actually, no, excuse me, it doesn't play out like that.
It doesn't go like that at all. They're asking what's up, and Kimber yells, "Don't you read the papers? We're here to shoot a music video."
Kimber showing off classic Kimber qualities when asked what they are doing in New York. Basically, smacks the press guy in the head and is like, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Don't you know everything about Gem and the Holograms?"
We're famous.
The Misfits are also here, which this is one of those things where, I mean, I later we find out that Eric is here to, like, watch some sculptures for a friend, like a backer, but, like...
He's sculpture
sitting, but they don't give a good reason until then why the Misfits are in New York, too.
They're just following Gem and the Holograms going, ugh.
They have nothing better to do, or they gotta go to New York Misfits music, which we'll also talk about later.
They got lost on their way to get some pizza.
Roxy bemoans the fact that Gem and company get the royal treatment, and the Misfits get nothing, to which Stormer is just like, well, that's probably Eric's fault, so, yeah, good job,
she
Eric.
said, looks like Eric botched it again. Like, yep, probably. They really have lost complete faith in him.
And Pizzazz vows to make the holograms stay in New York a disaster, to which I put in parentheses, boat, not actually expecting there to be a disaster boat in the... Like, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it turns into, like, Disaster Boat Part 3.
Yeah, wow. So we get a horizontal wipe, and our good friend Anthony Julian is back. I don't remember the last episode Anthony Julian is in, but he acts like an asshole in this episode.
A little bit, yeah, and they don't really establish who he is right off the bat, and he's drawn a little bit differently than usual, so I was looking, I'm like, I know this is Anthony Julian, but he looks younger?
He does look a little younger. I mean, he also... Him and Shayna aren't, like, hanging all over each other, too, so that might be another thing where you're like, why aren't they? Why aren't they kissing on each other?
Well, we don't get into the details, I guess. Who knows what's going on between them? The cartoon sure as shit not going to tell us.
Video is here, too, and Video doesn't do anything, does she, really? She's just here.
She and Julian are both there to be like, wow, we love weird artsy bullshit.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we got Fitzgerald Beck to be the art director on this music video, and Jem's like, whom?
And they talk about him being a conceptual artist, which is a red flag, if I've ever heard one.
Video even says he's the hottest conceptual artist in America.
I went to art school. Let me tell you about fine artists, Joe.
The shitbags, and they have no idea what they're doing.
They can be much more than other areas of art.
No offense to any fine artists out there, you shitbag.
Oh, absolutely not. I know plenty who were perfectly great, very talented people. I'm saying the majority of people. In college, at least. I went to a school where somebody made a painting that had her pee in it, Joe.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
And it was all yellow.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. I believe are, like, the couple of things everyone always says in college that fine artists always use. It is human waste, usually pee, because that's cleaner than the alternative, semen, and period blood.
Yeah, wonderful. Sounds like fun.
So there you go. Fine artists.
Thankfully, Fitzgerald Beck doesn't dabble in any of this because Anthony Julian pops up the little exposition screen that's in this limo that they're in, or car, or whatever. He pulls up the armrest, and there's like a video screen under it.
He got his ride pimped.
He got his ride pimped. He's showing off some of the performance art that Fitzgerald Beck has made, which it's people in like steel gray bodysuits, maybe lighter gray than steel gray, but like gray bodysuits, smacking spoons all over their heads. There's crazy sound effects playing, and there's occasional shots of Gem and the holograms looking like, what? Like, what? Huh? What? What is this commenting on? What?
It looks like, this part not so much, but later especially, it gets so weird that it looks like he's a cartoonist, actually. And these aren't videos of real things that are happening, because after all that, there's like a car that jumps into a giant TV, and that seems impossible.
Yeah, it seems impossible, but on art, whatever. Kimber also quips that it makes the Misfits sound good.
Almost.
It almost makes the Misfits sound good. Yes, thank you. Because the Misfits
They're being real shitbags in this episode.
They take any opportunity they can to shit talk Fitzgerald Beck, basically.
Like, even to his face. I wrote down, I think Video and Anthony are on drugs.
Because yes, high art enthusiast Vivian Video Montgomery goes, "Isn't he great?"
Sure. And this is the person that, these are two people that Gem and the Holograms constantly trust to film their music videos.
Yeah, Anthony says that Fitzgerald Beck's name attached to the video would give them some more credibility, some of that high art credibility that Gem and the Holograms desperately needs, I guess.
Yeah, because they're not famous or anything.
Well, they're heading to a party that he is throwing, and there are sculpture robots all over the walking the floor, pretty much. Throughout my notes, I refer to these sculpture things as robots, because that's basically what they are. But they are consistently called sculptures throughout.
They look like Sonic the Hedgehog enemies.
They kind of do, actually. There we go. Grounder, again.
Yeah.
One of them is made out of shoes on like a wheel and kicks Aja at some point, which actually the physics of which don't make much sense. But one of them kicks Aja.
It would be more like it steps on her, but yeah, it jolts Aja back into on mode, and she says something. She's been in sleep mode for the past couple of episodes.
And yeah, she's angry that the thing kicked her, and also one of the robots that rolls by looks like Tom Servo in a cowboy hat. Aja, for some reason, quips that sometimes, I guess, more is less. So she's also, like, really on the fucking negative train all over this guy.
Yeah, and I will say the thing that I say about fine artists. But when I went to our senior show, I didn't walk around to go, what's this shit?
Yeah, I mean,
like, pea painting, I feel like that's a pretty easy thing to be like, you don't hang up your pea painting in my college. But other pieces, I'm like, well, I'm sure somebody likes this, so why should I shit talk it? Apparently, holograms do not have that kind of filter.
Yes, they are doing this at a party full of high art types who fucking are eating this shit up, and here's Aja just, like, arms crossed, being like, I don't get it.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy at, like, the Guggenheim.
Is it like that picture that I love so much of, I don't know if it's a report or something, where somebody dropped their glove in a modern art museum and people are walking around it thinking it's one of the exhibits?
Yeah, stuff like that is hysterical. So I accept things like that, because that's the fun thing about art. You never know.
Never know. You're right. A man comes out to perform what an old lady describes to Kimber as Fitzgerald Beck's Piano Sonata, which involves him smashing up a grand piano with a hammer and then taking a chainsaw to it like it's the fucking Close to the Edit music video by Art of Noise.
I have no idea what that is.
That's a good song. It's a good song.
Never heard of it.
Kimber also asks what the hell's going on, and the old woman also gleefully says that it's the second movement when he brings out the chainsaw and starts taking it to the piano.
Yeah, at first it looks like Kimber is shocked that this instrument is, like, getting destroyed, but then she doesn't, just kind of, like, shrugs, like, oh, whatever, so I guess because it's not an electric piano, then she doesn't really care.
What did she learn from Old Meets New? Bobby Bailey would be so disappointed.
He comes out of the inside of the piano and goes, fucking Kimber!
And then he gets hit with a chainsaw.
Yep, and then he dies.
Of natural causes.
Oh, yeah, well, he was really old.
Sure, he had a chainsaw halfway through his guts, but it was just at that point, it was like, you know what, it's time to go. Jem wonders what the hell Anthony got them into, basically, and then we fade to a small stage. It is after the party now. I'm guessing they'll just be filming part of their music video here, which is song number 1 of the evening. It is, I believe, in Happy Endings, which actually, no, I'm sorry, it's not happening yet.
Nope.
Because we pan up to the top of the building, where we get the first look at Fitzgerald Beck, who even is kind of dressed like a modern art version of Bobby Bailey, I would say, because he's got a shitty Hawaiian-looking shirt on.
Yeah, the difference is that Fitzgerald has two-tone hair.
He does have two-tone hair. He has, like, orange in the front and black the rest of the way, and giant circular glasses.
Yeah, you could tell he's an artist because he has glasses.
So 2 large buckets of paint are poured down this building, this large-ass building, and as Gem and the Holograms are playing, I believe, in Happy Endings, it splashes all over them.
It pours very nicely. It has, like, full stripes of color in it. None of that paint is mixing. I wonder if it's, like, oil and water-based paint or something.
See, that's the thing. That would be a cool thing for a music video. I mean, like, I don't know how they were going to shoot it, but maybe, like, on paper, it was just like, no, it'll just fall the entire way, and it's not going to hit Gem and the Holograms, but then all of it hits Gem and the Holograms anyway.
They're ahead of their time, you know, who did this in the early 2000s.
Who did?
Green Day.
Oh, well, good. Well, there we
Remember
go.
the American Idiot music video with all the, it wasn't paint, but green slime fluid?
Oh, Nickelodeon.
Yeah, exactly. They got slimed. Fuck America.
Don't want to be a Nickelodeon idiot. Don't want to get slimed at the Kids' Choice Awards.
I feel like if you Googled something like that, be able to find a parody already made. And that scares me a little bit. But anyway, they stopped the music video. I said, what if it got in someone's eyes?
Yeah, what if it did get in someone's eyes? What if it was toxic or something? Because paint's usually... Like, getting paint dumped on you usually isn't a good time, I'm pretty sure.
No. Absolutely not. So while they're angry about it, Fitzgerald Beck is the rope repelling minigame section for Metal Gear Solid. Liquid Snake is flying around in a hind D going, Snake!
So here's the thing. I was gonna, not that specific reference, but I was going to say that he rappelled down the side of the building too, but he doesn't. he like fireman slides down a rope, like 20 stories. He doesn't touch the building on his way down.
Yeah, no, actually, you're right. So he doesn't have hands anymore, so I guess since he didn't want to make sculptures, that's good for him now.
You gotta suffer for your art, Kristen. You gotta have burns all over your hands.
Do you remember in Bacano when Ladd jumps off the train at the end? He's holding a rope and his entire hand disintegrates.
Yes, I do remember that.
And then he punches a water tower. Good anime.
As Fitzgerald Beck is sliding down the rope, destroying his hands in the process, Anthony Julian is like, okay, so I know he just poured paint on you, but don't hurt his feelings because you know art types are very sensitive. Once again, sorry, high artists, if you can't take the banter of us making fun of you.
I think Anthony's projecting. Maybe that was something passive-aggressive that was aimed at Shayna.
And he also says, Fitzgerald Beck, meet Jem, before Beck slides all the way down. Like, before he even touches the ground, Anthony Julian is already saying this.
He knows who she is.
And the first thing that Fitzgerald Beck says is that Jem fascinates him. So here we go again. Here we go with... And Jem responds with, well, you sure have a funny way of showing it.
Like, there's this gross dude we're supposed to, like, care about his feelings towards Jem. Everyone falls in love with Jem. She's just so mysterious and hologrammy.
I have a question, Kristen. Now, I know...
What's your question?
We're already inconsistent with what affects the Gemstar earrings in terms of water, but does paint affect them? Or did the paint even, like, with the way that Jem works as a hologram, did CWTAJ have to, like, quickly think and apply hologram paint to Jem to make it seem like she's a hologram or not a hologram?
That's a really good question, and I'm furious.
Well, this is one of those
Because also later, when a bunch of them get soaked on the disaster boat, Jem looks wet.
Jem does look wet. Yeah, alright, so these are the little problems where Jem's not a different person. Jem's an image projected over Jerrica. So... whatever, fuck it. Whatever.
I hate this.
Doesn't matter.
This.
No, we're just gonna make ourselves we're just gonna make ourselves angry.
Let's continue.
We fade to where I guess they'll be shooting the next part of the video, or the next part of, or just the paint idea was scrapped, so now they're gonna do it on a boat. Which there's a boat that looks kind of like Eric's yacht thing from Old Meets New, as well as a garbage barge, or as I referred to it in my notes throughout, a garbarge.
That's so close to garbage that I want to break out the other Star Runner joke about garage sales.
So Anthony explains that Jem and Company will be performing on the garbarge for some reason. I don't know. It's art. Doesn't matter. You got a pop band and you got garbage. Whatever.
Disaster Boat Part 2.
Disaster Boat Part 2. For some reason, the garbarge is controlled with a remote. Like, they can't have a guy hiding in the boat for some reason, like, to make...
No, it ruins the art.
It's got to be remote controlled, and I guess for some reason Fitzgerald Beck turns into Tech Rat in this next part because he has, like, a controller that he is using to control this boat. Kimber, when they are on the garbarge, goes, so much for our glamorous image! And Aja is a bit less enthusiastic, and she's like, I think we lost that as soon as Fitzgerald Beck came into our lives.
Aja feels like she has a personal history with Beck. She really doesn't like him.
I think she's just angry because she hasn't gotten to speak in the last few episodes.
So she's spitting that hot fire, but we'll let her keep speaking.
We see the Misfits. We cut to the Misfits doing... So I don't know. The passage of time here isn't exactly clear because the holograms are on the boat, or maybe they're not on the boat at that point. They're just looking at it, but whatever. The Misfits are on the boat, the garbarge, the disaster garbage boat. Pizzazz,
the adjective boat.
The adjective boat. Pizzazz says that this production is one big disaster waiting to happen, and Pizzazz is just here to make sure that it is basically 100% happening. That you can't get on a boat without it being a disaster in the Gem universe.
Yep, way to stay on brand, Pizzazz.
So we fade to later, and it's time for song 1 of the evening, I Believe in Happy Endings, which they will be playing on the garbage boat. I'm lying, they're not. It gets interrupted again.
Yeah, Shanna's standing playing the drums, so that's great. Jem is singing away from her microphone, like, consistently.
How many episodes in a row is this now?
Quite a few.
They're in the middle playing, and then Aja stops the take, or stops, like, they don't, okay, so music videos, there's, like, playback and stuff, right? You know? And
There should be.
there should be. They shouldn't be playing the song live, I would think, but that doesn't matter because there's no playback or anything, it's just they stop, and the song just stops. And Aja's like, can they even see us from this far away? Because the garbage starts to, like, go really, really far ahead and fast.
Which doesn't make sense if the controls were broken. Like, ideally it wouldn't move at all, but okay.
Tech rat, whatever. But yeah, we see Fitzgerald Beck.
Possessed put devil magic into it.
Possessed put devil magic into Fitzgerald's Beck's controller Simon thing, and he's just like, oh no, what's happening? Disaster Boat the Third, yes. Jem, the only time that we haven't had a disaster on a boat, I'm pretty sure thus far, has been when Eric dressed like a ship's captain, but we could call that a disaster if we want.
Yeah, I think the disaster were the 2 discount zippers there. It was the family emotional disaster.
And we officially named the boat the Disaster, so...
True, so in name at least.
So this is Disaster Boat Part 4, where we get literally the same thing that happens in the episode Disaster, except it's not the Countess's boat that is going into a gigantic-ass military fucking destroyer. Now it's a tiny-ass garbage going into a boat that looks like the Countess's boat.
Yeah, I guess the huge boat is the Countess's boat, and she is like, I cannot believe this is happening again!
Don't get the garbage on the boat!
I have so many clothes here! You will ruin the fabric! It's been a while since I've gotten to do my Countess.
God, I can't wait until we see the Countess again. Was the last time we saw her in Stitches? Was that fucking...
I think so! I miss her so much!
13 episodes ago? Oh my god. So Jem attempts to steer the boat away to no avail, and she notices immediately, thank goodness for perceptive-ass Jem, who's like, oh, wait a minute, someone tampered with the control box, we need to reconnect the manual controls, which she deigns all from, like, looking at the lock being broken on the control box.
Yeah, it's still closed, she just looks at it and does her, like, Sherlock Holmes zoop, zoop, zoop thing, I guess. Yeah, I was trying to jump in there, Jem does a pretty bad job steering the boat, I guess, because Kimber just pieces out of the window.
I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly happens here, because I don't think... Is there, like, is there a door there? Because I know Kimber flies out the window, and then Shayna tries to attempt to, like, grab her to have her not fall off the boat, and then Aja gets involved, too, somehow, but neither of them fly out the window.
Yeah, they do a horizontal version of the pool fall from the Rock Fashion book.
Thankfully, they avoid the boat, and nobody falls off the boat either, because they all just get slammed back in the other direction, and all they sandwich themselves in the wall, pretty much, the opposite side of the wall of the boat.
Yeah, but they eventually get back to land, and everyone's pretty unhappy.
Everyone's pretty unhappy. This is the last straw for Jim. We have a horizontal wipe to Fitzgerald Beck running up to them saying, oh no, I'm sorry if something had happened, and Jem cuts him off immediately, or Aja or somebody cuts him off immediately and goes, what, you wouldn't have somebody to dump paint on?
That's not the important thing. The important thing is that Kimber says, or cut adrift in the middle of the Pacific?
To which I believe Aja from off screen goes, Atlantic, Kimber.
And then Kimber goes, whatever!
Legitimately.
Fantastic exchange.
Legitimately a very good joke in this terrible episode of Jem. And I don't think this is us looking for good spots either. This is legitimately, I like that a lot. Fitzgerald Beck, while he's sorry, basically justifies all of this by saying, Jem, you gotta suffer for great art doesn't happen without suffering, is his words. Which, there we go, Kristen, would you mind, do you have any sort of story about suffering for art?
I think that if you want your art to involve suffering, it should not be the suffering of unwilling subjects. There's my former art student opinion.
Jem starts letting Beck down a little easy by going, you know what, Fitzgerald Beck, I'm sure you mean well. I understand your vision and all that, and then it's just like, but you're a fucking menace and I hate you. Yep,
that's what Chrissy should have said to Dominic. Don't let him out too easy.
Don't be his friend. Even though, well, we'll see what happens here. We fade to Anthony Julian, who is a big stupid flip-flopper because now he's like, yeah, Fitzgerald Beck is terrible. Oh, I'm so sorry that my suggestion, I'm on your side. Don't implicate me in this.
Don't hurt me. But apparently, if they drop him as the director for the video, they will lose credibility. Whatever that means.
Which, so is that better than losing their credibility by playing their song on a garbage?
Did they not lose credibility when they broke their original contract for Starbright?
We cut to the Castello Gallery. Some lady, who is named Maria, is chewing out fits for working on a trashy music video. That's not high art, that's pop music.
That's low art, which is the opposite of high art.
If it's Cheryl Beck goes, what? I didn't know that. Wait, what have I been doing?
Whoa, hang on. But yeah, he really doesn't want to work on the sculptures, but Maria evilly suggests that he better keep making them.
Or else, which...
Or else.
What could Maria possibly do? Just like, you can't use my gallery anymore. Ha 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 ha. Popular artist, I'm gonna cut you loose to the dogs. The people who totally would want your art in their gallery.
Luckily, Fitz is pretty submissive to her because he doesn't seem to think logically, well, I could just go to another place.
No, there's not a lot of logic in general in this episode. But we fade to Eric, who is in an office somewhere, like a blue office that we've never seen before.
Eric is emerging from his yuppie cocoon.
And he is just like, wait a minute, Fitzgerald Beck is doing Jem's music video, why didn't you tell me? I love that guy!
Yo, I can't wait to see it. Do you think they need extras?
We see that Eric owns a small sculpture by Fitzgerald Beck, which is like a bob-omb in pants, kind of like in overalls or something, with arms all over it.
Eric makes a very specific point to say that he can only afford some of the smaller sculptures, and like keeps talking about how fucking expensive they are, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it begs the question. I mean, I know that a lot of the money for the Misfits comes from Pizzazz's dad, but Eric shills out his cash for things that aren't Misfits related. I'm sure, like that fucking real estate venture in Old Meets New.
Yeah, so he has a disaster boat of his own and a ship's captain outfit, so he has to have some amount of money of his own.
And then Eric goes into, he transitions into exposition mode pretty well, because he's just like, oh, I gotta go to the Castello Gallery myself, because there's a backer who needs me to watch some of his sculptures that Fitzgerald Beck made while he's in Europe.
Great, Eric out.
Pizzazz is really jealous of Eric, because I guess he's paying attention to something other than Pizzazz.
Yeah, she's like, are you managing Fitzgerald Beck's career, or are you managing our career, bro?
And then Eric's response is, I need to go to the Castello Gallery. Goodbye.
Later. He just walks out the door and leaves the Misfits there.
Actually, you know what? He doesn't even say goodbye. He's just like, I need to go to the Castello Gallery, and then he leaves.
No, the later was more of a expression of the manner in which he leaves, where it's just like, peace.
Segment 1 ends really generally with just the Misfits following Eric. Like, David Wise didn't get the memo that everybody's supposed to be either dead or dying at the end of each segment.
Yeah, I wrote part 2 and no one is dead.
Segment 2 starts. Eric is with Backerman, who, Eric says his name. I don't remember what the fuck it is. He's only in this scene, so I referred to him as Backerman. He's there with him, meeting Maria Castello, and Backerman has an entire crate of Beck sculptures all just kind of like piled on top of each other, so it looks really terrible.
So as they're looking around at the sculptures and everything, Eric is gushing over them, talking about how, I can't afford them or anything. Evil Lady Maria keeps trying to sell them to him, and his Europe buddy, the mustache, says, you're not paying for the form, you're paying for the diamonds! Ah, we're criminals!
I don't know why they're trying so hard to like lump one of these sculptures with Eric. But yeah, the Backerman goes, you're not paying for the form, you're paying for the content, to which my response is, fuck art. The Misfits sneak a peek as they all head into the next room. I forget the reason why they all leave, but I know that Eric is just like, oh, can you show me some more sculptures? And Backerman and Maria are all just kind of going along too. The Misfits are sneaking a peek from behind the wall, and Backerman whispers to Maria as loud as humanly possible that he's going to be laying low from the cops while in Europe.
A good thing Eric's ear is full of sculptures.
The Misfits run over to the crate, and it takes her 0.5 seconds to be like, wait a minute, is there something inside these sculptures? Like, without even touching one.
Even the Misfits are smart enough to figure this dumb shit scheme out.
Pizzazz picks up one that looks like an arm and rattles it around, and there's like something, there's something rattling around inside it, and she goes, what does that sound like to you?
And Roxy's like, a girl's best friend.
Which can go any number of ways, but...
Right. Un diamond USD.
Un diamond. Pizzazz formulates a plan that will both get Jem into trouble and pay back Eric for ignoring them. So, alright, Kristen, here you go. It's official. If you ignore the Misfits for a very short amount of time, you are officially as bad as Jem.
Yep, and you know what? Eric has it coming. And there's a slow zoom onto Pizzazz. Makes me uncomfortable as she speaks her line.
Yes, which is last time we nearly sank Jem's boat. This time we're gonna blow her out of the water.
Song 1, surprise, surprise.
Song 1, I believe in happy, surprise, surprise.
I believe in surprise.
I believe in surprise. Which we're gonna play for you now, surprise.
Surprise!
Kristen, I love surprise, surprise. I think it's really good.
I love it too. I'm glad that we agree for once.
As well, much like in the last episode of Gimme a Gimmick, the visuals for the Misfits songs are fucking off the charts and really great. When we get a Jem song, it's going to be terrible and boring and nothing's going to happen. Because, I mean, you have fucking... They're running around with, like, gumball robots. Stormer's, like, pushing Roxy inside a gumball robot. And when we cut back to them, it's, like, on the floor, destroyed, and they're like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, the weird Funhouse torture bullshit is back, which is one of my favorite Misfits aesthetics.
Pizzazz also has a garbage can robot sculpture, which he hugs before pushing away.
They love chaos. That's just how it is.
I love garbage. And here we get a very convoluted plan, Kristen. Would you like to explain the first part of the plan that happens through this music video?
Okay, so Stormer's a chauffeur.
Okay.
Is that the first part? But she has sunglasses on, so it's okay. And she has a package, and Pizzazz and Roxy are like, go give it to Jem.
And the sunglasses must make all the difference, considering, if you remember, Shayna was able to spot Stormer dressed as a chauffeur from about 50 yards away with her blue hair, but the sunglasses make it so they don't notice, I guess.
That's good. It's good that they're learning and evolving their disguises to new levels.
The package is pushed into Jem, or, you know, Stormer's just like, here, take this, and then I guess runs away. And when she opens it up, it's got a fucking Rita Repulsa, Make My Monster Grow kaiju thing living inside of it.
I forgot about that and how that works. Man.
Considering it grows to the size of a Godzilla or a Megazord or anything like that, it was able to be contained inside this box for that long, I guess.
But great news, it's actually Giantess Rocks inside.
Which, all the holograms are really shocked because they're so used to Giantess Pizzazz, which gives Pizzazz the perfect opportunity to finish off her plan, which, as soon as Jem turns around, boom! Pie in the face.
Haha! Burn!
Why didn't they just throw pie in her face?
So we went to Universal Studios, and we were younger, and we did the Nickelodeon thing. Nickelodeon Studios, like, team battle, whatever the fuck it is thing. And I don't know if do you remember any of this, Joe?
Barely.
Anyway, they picked captains for 2 teams, and I got picked for a team. And my team ended up winning the, like, fun mini-game challenges that we did, so I got to pick between being pied and being slimed. And I picked to be pied, and it was fucking awesome.
I don't remember this at all, so...
I remember it because I smelled like vanilla for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I definitely choose that over... I mean, I don't know, do you think they put anything in slime to make it smell pretty good? Like a little extract of vanilla in there?
I think it probably, for how many times they dump it on children, it can't smell bad.
No. It's probably... They probably put a little lavender in there or something.
But I do remember the girl on the other team seemed pretty upset that she had been slimed. So, whoops, ruined some kid's vacation.
Oh, wonderful. Pizzazz runs away as well after pieing Jem in the face because, haha, you got pied in the face, and this incenses Jem in this music video, who's probably not actually Jem.
She's the pie police.
She's the pie police. She's been the fun police, and now she's the pie police. or the orphan police, or whatever other sort of police she has been.
She's been the mountain police as well.
The moral police.
Yes, absolutely.
So Pizzazz runs into this place that is basically a hall of mirrors, and after throwing a switch when Jem comes in, it breaks them all, and it has her like fall down a weird checkerboard infinity hole.
You know, just like Pizzazz has in her house.
Daddy, I want a bottomless pit in the house. Okay, daughter. Here it is.
She got it for her 16th birthday.
There's a jack-in-the-box at the bottom, which, like, bounces Jem back up. The rest of the holograms, I don't know how they got here, but the rest of the holograms are basically in the maze screensaver from Windows 98.
That's great. At some point, Pizzazz opens up a cage that a cobra is inside and picks it up, but then pulls its head off, and it's actually a hose, and she sprays it like a fucking fire hose at the holograms, and it blasts them backwards.
Surprise!
Surprise! Yeah, that is a surprise.
Jem and Co. chase the Misfits somewhere else, and we see the Misfits sliding down a banister backwards, which is a very odd visual, but I love it.
Great. Umbrellas, and then it's over.
And then it's over, yeah. But none of that happened, so we'll chalk that up to delusions of what Pizzazz thinks that surprising the holograms would be. So we cut to the Misfits, who are back in Eric's office, taking the box of sculptures, which is much smaller now for some reason, and we horizontal wipe to a theater that says, Jem and the Holograms, appearing soon, which I guess means that they are appearing tonight.
Yeah, you think they would put a specific date and time on there, but maybe they're not a very experienced venue.
Maybe appearing soon is their appearing tonight, and they just don't want to specify what time it is because it's a really swanky club.
Maybe they're aware of the fact that Jem and the Holograms tend to be late to things.
This was a concert that was supposed to go on at noon, but they didn't get there until 5.
It happens. That's been you get the heavy hitters. There has to be a rock equivalent of that.
And maybe that's like the heavy hitters are like what, like the stadium rockers and stuff. Like I don't even know off the top of my head who did stadium shows in the 80s. I just know that they were popular.
I think it's maybe different in like swanky ass New York in like the art scene.
Oh, that's true.
You want like a small, like intimate performance with Jem and her weirdo friends.
Even though this seems like it's a pretty big arena when they do end up playing.
I barely remember the concert. Practically doesn't happen.
Practically, yeah. One of the movers comments how stupid the sculptures look, but then the other one's like, we're getting paid $25 an hour to move them. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's basically what my attitude would be. I'm not even good at carrying things like those cartoon men probably are.
The Misfits go and bring some sculptures through the back door, and I guess switch out the ones that Eric is watching for the ones that were on the stage, which begs the question, I don't know, Fitzgerald Beck, I would think, might know about his sculptures. So when he looks on stage and goes, wait a minute, these aren't the sculptures that I wanted to have here, you'd think he'd be like, didn't I sell these sculptures to somebody?
Well, he's also feeling like pretty disillusioned when it comes to his sculptures. Maybe he's just like, I don't care.
Well, some dude runs on stage. It's too late now anyway, because he goes, and now, ladies and gentlemen, Jem and the Holograms. And then they run on stage, and they're all wearing different color versions of the same outfit that looks honestly terrible.
Oh yeah, they have like weird monochrome, like zebra print shit going on. And they're like jumpsuits, but they're not like the racist race suits. It's not good.
No, Shanny, you gotta get your shit together, is what I'm saying, basically.
Yeah, it's not good. So, song number 2 of the evening now.
I believe in happy endings, which we get a little further than usual, but oh no, what's this? Stormer's backstage, and she hits a switch. I'm surprised that actually Stormer is the one to hit the switch here. And kaboom! Diamonds falling everywhere. Just pretend it's part of the show, Jem. Just keep singing with the rain of diamonds. Yeah,
I believe Anthony Julian yells like, oh my god, they're diamonds. I would like to point out, those are rubies and sapphires.
They didn't look blue enough to be sapphires for me, but I definitely saw a lot of rubies there.
Yeah, so, if anything, definitely not diamonds. If they are, they're fake as shit diamonds.
So we fade to after the concert, and we have a guy here who I just referred to as Detective Man. And
that's his name, do not wear it out.
That's right. Private investigator, Detective Man. And he is going to bet his bottom subway token that these are the stolen Rockwell jewels.
It just occurred to me that I have never been to New York in a time where Metro cards didn't exist.
Wow. Where does the phrase bet your bottom dollar come from?
Annie?
Does it?
I know it's used in the song Tomorrow. This is great that we're referencing Annie 2 episodes in a row. Didn't expect that.
Whatever. Anthony Julian asks if they're suspects to Detective Min, and Detective Min is like, yeah, you are. And so is Fitzgerald Beck. And then Video sells out Fitz immediately by going, where did Fitzgerald Beck go? He's not here anymore.
Hey, Joe, I hate to interrupt you,
Yes.
but I googled bet your bottom dollar origin, and now I will read the origin of this idiom to you.
Please go ahead.
When a card player would place their bet, they would pull money off the top of the stack of money that they had in front of them. The term bet your bottom dollar means betting the bottom dollar and all of the others on top of that. Today we call it going all in. Bet your bottom dollar is to taunt someone to bet it all.
You know what? I had a feeling that that was the case because it sounded like bottom dollar is like last dollar, which I assumed meant like all of the money included as well. So I assumed that was the case. So betting his bottom subway token is basically betting a lot of useless shit.
Sorry, I'm thinking now if I'm getting the song Tomorrow confused with the song from the Carousel of Progress. I got really distracted there for a second.
There's a
Things
great,
didn't add up
big,
in my
beautiful tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Bet
I
your
love you
bottom
tomorrow.
dollar. That's my mashup.
There we go. Perfect. I love the Carousel of Progress.
Me too.
So Detective Min basically at Video's whole thing of being like, where did Fitz go? As he's just like, all right, well, okay, so police go find Fitzgerald Beck, and Jem and company, you're coming with me. Even though what happens to Anthony Julian in Video? Because I don't think they certainly aren't hanging out with Jem.
They both go straight back to LA.
They both go to jail.
Fuck this. Video's like, I can't go to jail again.
So we cut to all of them kind of hanging out in Detective Min's office. At least Jem and company, Anthony Julian and Video are gone forever. Possibly for the rest of the episode, because I don't remember if they show up again. Jem says that Fitz is innocent! And Aja chimes in with that he is not clever enough to hide diamonds inside sculptures.
They are so determined to dunk on this guy.
Fucking burn, Jesus.
Yeah, so they're hanging out with the detective who is like, by the way, you're not going anywhere, just in case you were wondering. Then Jem makes a hologram so they can run away from the cops.
Jem makes a hologram Eric. Or no, excuse me, that's later. Jem makes a hologram Fitz, who appears at the door and is like, hey, I heard you were looking for me. And then he runs away, like in Broadway Magic. And it disappears when he turns a corner. So the detective runs after him. And Jem and company then, yes, use this hologram opportunity to escape police custody.
Yeah, they are apparently so convinced that the stranger they just met and do not like did not do this, that they don't want to trust the police. I guess they haven't had great interactions with law enforcement in the past.
Well, what? The guy who arrested them for 2 minutes in frame up? Or did they get arrested more than that? Because I already forget.
They almost got arrested in Adventure in China.
You're right. Well, that was their fault, and that was stupid.
They also didn't understand that it was their fault, though.
That's true. They probably wouldn't understand if it was their fault here, if they actually got caught, if this plan did not work out.
But we're innocent, so it's okay that we ran away.
So yeah, the holograms are basically, they're sticking their necks out for a guy that they barely know, and they gotta find him first, and Kimber asks, where's the stupidest place he can hide out? It's his studio.
Which they know where that is for some reason, and no one else got there first, so that's great.
You know, I didn't actually think about it, that they didn't actually go to his house before this, did they?
The door to his studio says studio on the inside, so he knows that it's his studio.
He's also packing when they arrive, and he's just like, I'm packing just in case I need to go on the lam. You're looking really innocent right now, jackass. At this point, Jem should have been like, oh no, oh fuck, we gotta get back to the police station.
Did you notice the really good packing that he was doing?
I just noticed he was throwing pants into a suitcase, I'm pretty sure.
Well, what I saw is he threw a bunch of, like, scraps from his sculptures, and then he threw what it looked like a single shirt and a landmine, and then shut his suitcase like, done.
The landmine is part of his next sculpture.
Yeah, this is all I need. I'm gonna blow up the plane that I fly on. Boom.
Jem also even, like, encourages Fitz to run away. She's like, Fitz, you gotta get out of here. The police are gonna be here any second, and not... Fitz, please explain to the police that you don't have anything to do with these stolen jewels.
And Fitz takes a little bit of time to be incredibly melodramatic and say, who cares if I go to jail for something I didn't do? I don't care.
And nobody liked my sculptures. They just wanted to use them to smuggle jewels.
Being an artist is hard.
The way that Fitz is laying on his bed is a really awkward perspective. Like, he looks like he's dead or dying.
He's doing one of those, like, old romantic novel lady deaths. Have you ever seen, like, the list of weird things that women have died from in old novels?
No. Well, do tell if you have anything available.
It includes things like being too cold, being too in love, scared.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds like I need to read some old novels so I could see the stupid ways that women die. Jem tries to cheer Fitz up by saying that his sculptures are kinda cute.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at this list again, and it's really, really good. I forgot some of the really good ones.
Do tell.
Not enough pillows. Sherry served too cold.
Oh my god.
River unhappiness.
Wait a minute, what?
Knitting needles too heavy. Beautiful chestnut hair. The unpleasantness. That's just a couple from that list. I'm going to link you to this list so you can read it afterwards.
Okay, and put it in the show notes if you will.
I will.
Okay.
Cold hands.
Cool.
Going outside at night in Italy.
Well, we got to see that in Stitches. I'm surprised that nobody died during whatever that song is about running out of time. Time is running out, or whatever it was called.
Yeah, seriously. Spent more than a month in London after growing up in Yorkshire. I've heard that about London. It's dangerous. I'm not going to spoil the rest of it.
Jem tries to cheer Fitz up at this point and is like, I think your sculptures are kind of cute. And this is enough for Kimber to be like, what?
Like, Kimber, could you, like, try some subtlety for once in your pink-haired life?
Aj's response to that is to elbow Kimber in the stomach and be like, Ixnay on the Otway. Come on, we gotta fucking... Don't do that to him.
Yeah, and Fitz thinks that this is a great time for a romantic confession, and Jem is just like, shit, I didn't sign up for this.
I like Jem's response, because, yeah, Fitz is just like, I have something to tell you, Jem. Something I've wanted to tell you from the moment I met you, and Jem's response is a very flat Fitz, no. Fitz, don't, please.
Please don't, please. It's because it actually does happen later in the episode. At first, I was, like, thinking that Jem misunderstood, and he was not actually going to say that he's in love with her, because she just assumed that everyone is, because that tends to happen.
I would have liked it better if it was something like that, where it was just like, Jem, and Jem's like, oh no, fuck, and he's like, need your autograph!
Please! And she's like, okay, that's funny. And then her self-esteem takes a little bit of a well-deserved hit.
Fitz isn't able to say... Fitz says he has one word to tell Jem, just one, and then it makes like the synergy hologram noise, the or something, when he...
Pew pew!
When he thinks of this, and he goes, and that word is Maria. And then Jem.
I thought that meant like she was behind them or something, but that's not what happens.
No, it's his revelation that Maria is the one who did it,
which he comes to pretty quickly. So I guess it's a good thing they went to go see him, and he didn't run away. I'm getting really exhausted by this episode.
Yeah, I have a question here, Kristen. Since it makes the synergy hologram noise when he has this revelation, this reservation revelation.
Whoa!
What if Fitz was just a hologram the entire time?
Synergy fucking with them.
Synergy. Jem fucks with enough people. It's time for Synergy to fuck back.
Then Synergy becomes a very successful independent artist.
And gets physical.
In my spin-off, Synergy.
Jem starts to hatch a plan to clear all their names, but then a guy knocks on the door and goes, NYPD, open up! And the Law & Order theme starts playing.
Produced by Dick Wolf.
Segment 2 ends. The police are still knocking on the door. This is a bit more suspenseful, so David Wise wised up a bit, if you will, in terms of how to end segments.
No. I didn't like that joke.
Segment 3 begins. Cop exposits once again that he is from the NYPD because, somebody might have just come in through the commercial break, and if there was knocking on the door, and they were like, oh no, we gotta leave. They're like, wait, well, who could be behind the door? What
city are they in? I don't get it, but it's time to run from the cops again.
Yeah, Aja determines it's time for another fast exit. To the fire escapes! Now, Kristen, I'm not terribly familiar with police procedure, but We don't see them go down the fire escape. We wipe straight to the Costello Gallery. Shouldn't there have been a cop like outside the building, maybe hanging out near the car, just in case they tried escaping?
You would think, right?
You would think.
Apparently the NYPD is it's nothing.
We'll catch him eventually. Whatever.
We're the NYPD. What else do we have to do? There's no crime.
So we go to the Costello Gallery. Aja and Jem are concerned that Fitz is going too far, implicating Maria, that he has basically no basis for this. They say basically, like, why would she, if she's so good at hiding evidence, why would she blow up her robots to reveal the gems everywhere?
They go 2 + 2 = 4. It was the Misfits, which they should not have been able to figure that out so quickly with no proof. But they were right, I guess.
Do they even know the Misfits are in New York right now? Do they?
Not that I'm aware of.
They have not interacted at all in this episode, have they?
Credit where credit is due. They're clairvoyants. Our favorite type of ESP.
Clairvoyance coming, yes, making a return appearance on the podcast. So Jem dispatches the holograms at this point to go find the Misfits, while she and Fitz are going to go back to his loft for reinforcements, which I hoped was the Cheat Commando's character, but no, it's just more sculptures.
I don't know why Jem's the one who has to come up with this idea. You have to get your robots to come help us.
Why couldn't Fitz be? I mean, maybe because Fitz has been all meek the entire episode, he can't suddenly be like, I have a plan, I guess.
Yeah, they're back in the loft. Fitz is like, I'm gonna get my suitcase and run away this time, right? But no, they are just activating the sculptures, and they create a weird Hanna-Barbera crime-fighting team.
Kristen, I don't know anything about police procedure, but shouldn't there have been a cop waiting at the apartment?
You started saying that so similarly to the way you said it just a couple minutes ago that I was thinking to myself, did something happen to Mumble and did I go back in time? Am I hearing an echo of what Joe said before? This is fucking crazy. I was terrified for a minute. There's a ghost in my computer.
Ghost in the machine by the police. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I thought they should at least have a warrant for his arrest or something at this point, which would give them full clout. I've watched a lot of Law and Order. Even then, I still don't. I watched the Sam Waterston parts more. I watched the court part more than the Jerry Orbach part.
True, but there is a new one that fits.
Fists. Just call them fists.
Fits.
Beck,
which is way easier to pronounce, insists that they have to take with them. It is... See, if I tried to say Fitz insists, that would have been so fucked up. Anyway. So he takes a sheet off of a thing called... And he's like, it's called Freeze, you're under arrest. And it's a robot that has a gun.
It's got 4 hands. One has a stop sign. One has a billy club. One has handcuffs. And one has a gun. And it's got a policeman hat.
Yay, that makes it cute.
And then Jem goes, that gun better not be loaded on that robot, Fitz. And he goes, ha ha ha. Ooh, boy.
And he doesn't answer, he just runs out the door.
We cut to what I guess is the New York branch of Misfits Music, a giant-ass building that says Misfits Music on it. Maybe this is why Eric doesn't have enough money to buy these sculptures.
Yeah, it's either that or all 3 of the remaining holograms went back to LA to find the Misfits, who also went back that same day and started recording, and then came back to New York to finish this plan. So it's easier to just assume it's the New York branch of Misfits Music. Otherwise, I'll die.
Not only that, but it's a completely different building from normal Misfits Music.
Yeah, the letters are in a different place.
So they're recording, surprise, surprise, I guess, because it's all blaring. And for some reason, Eric stops the take to shit-talk the Misfits, going, where'd you learn to play that thing, Pizzazz? It's C minor, not C minus. Those kind of, like, music jokes always make me wonder that if I actually understood music better, if it would make sense at all. In Monty Python Spam-A-Lot. Okay.
In the song that goes like this, there's a whole section in the song where they talk about how they're changing, like, to the different parts of the song and changing the key and going into E and things like that. And I read in, like, notes, they were like, yeah, that shit doesn't mean anything, it just all rhymed.
So everybody watching Monty Python Spam-A-Lot can all clap and be like, oh, music! When in reality, it's just like, we need to make a song.
Yeah. The shit isn't actually what's happening in the music.
I don't have an ear for music. I don't know how to play any instruments. So I doubt that,
I know what a key change is. That's about as far as I go.
Right, I doubt that Surprise Surprise is in C minor. I wouldn't know how to check that.
Let us know.
Let us know if Surprise Surprise is in C minor, and if Eric is the one who looks like an asshole, because you could just go right into the room, and it's just like, it's major, Eric, this is C major. Or C major the bad one.
I don't know.
That's D major, I think. The one with all the YouTube videos where it turns the distortion up to like 300%. I don't know, whatever.
cwtapod@gmail.com.
He goes into the recording area, and we see a hand turn up, like, the sound from inside that room on the mixer, because, I don't know if we see Shayna, but we definitely see Aja and Kimber hiding, like, under the mixing console.
Yeah, all three of them are there.
Okay, like, hiding under the mixing console, while Eric, I guess, found out that the Misfits blew up the robots, the sculptures and shit, and he goes, that little stunt at the Gem concert can put us all in hot water.
And Pizzazz was like, blah, 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 it was Maria Costello. Just in case any holograms are listening.
Yes, Pizzazz implicates Maria Costello just so we can have full confirmation of everybody's suspicions that all of the parties are involved. And we fade to outside Maria's apartment. Gem has a plan, which does not involve Fitz, because Fitz is like, I want to go in too. And Gem's like, I'd be more comfortable if I did.
He grabs her.
He grabs her, and Gem goes, I'd be more comfortable if I did this alone, which is actually her just saying,
I'd be more comfortable if you didn't fucking touch me, Fitz.
She turns into Tech Rat and goes, don't touch me. Gem knocks on the door, on Maria's door, before making the hologram of Eric, so there's a very good chance that if Maria were anywhere close to her door and, like, looked through the peephole or anything, she would have seen the summoning of the Eric hologram.
That's a good thing that these cartoon people are pretty stupid, huh?
The hologram Eric explains that Fitzgerald Beck was caught by the police, and he told him everything, including where Maria kept the stolen jewels, which is news to Maria.
Then Maria decides that he must have been spying on her and starts screaming that she needs to get to her stolen jewels before the police. So it's a good thing that no one else with supreme moral fiber is hanging around this place.
So why is Maria such a bad criminal? Because what she really could have just done is go, Eric, I have no idea what you're talking about.
She's too paranoid. That's her fatal flaw. Her hubris.
Oh no, it's too bad that the cartoon
her hubris. I said that wrong.
It's too bad that the cartoon didn't create that character trait for Maria, and she just looks like a dumbass.
So they all start to run after Maria. Fitz has his hands over his head like he just got off an airplane, so that's great.
And then Shayna turns around and is like, no, you gotta do that when you're getting on or off an airplane. And then Kimber turns around and is like, no, we don't do that anymore, Shayna.
There's a whole, like, lack of communication that's kind of hurting the team right now. But she heads back to her nightclub, Maria does. And apparently this is where the party was at the beginning of the episode, so that's great.
Yeah, we get some quick expository dialogue, again, of... it's Gem or something being like, I think this place looks familiar. And Fitzgerald Beck being like, this is where my party was. It's Maria's nightclub.
So Maria runs back into a mirror room.
Yeah, a room with a bunch of mirrors and stuff, and she also...
sex mirror room.
She also, like, types on a keypad to open up, like, a Star Trek door, which I guess Gem and the holograms don't have to do, or it stays open long enough for them to get through, because they notice immediately when she opens up a false mirror with a bunch of fucking jewels behind it.
So the police robot cuffs her, because it's sentient, I guess.
Yeah, I have a problem with the police robot knowing what it needs to do. I mean, this is why we call it a robot and not a sculpture, because it's doing fucking robot things. Things that are more advanced. Things that would be more advanced than any robot can do currently.
There's some inconsistency.
A guy who I assume is like the chef or the bartender appears because he throws off his like apron and he looks like he's going to kick their asses, but then he gets beat up by a punch robot, and this goes on for about 8 full seconds of him getting the shit knocked out of him by a robot with boxing gloves all over it.
Just like in Intrigue at the Indy 500, the chefs double as bouncers.
He falls into Aja at the end of being punched basically to death, and she pushes him through the glass window that is above the bar. So he crashes through back onto the dance floor, and everybody stops, and the cops are there, and the Charlie Adler cop is like, what the fuck did I just walk into?
A good old-fashioned nightclub brawl.
A good old-fashioned
nightclub.
Including glass, yes, of course. Again, somebody Steven Seagaling someone through a window.
Hooray!
The cops get to the back, and Jem has the fucking gall to go, aha, good thing you're here, officers, arrest that woman! And then the Charlie Adler cop is like, we've been trying to arrest you all night, Jem.
You fucking ran away from the cops, you dumbass.
And then Maria is like, and they beat me up! Or they beat up my bouncer, or they beat up somebody. But the cop is just like, oh, so it's gonna be assault and battery, too. That's quite the charges you've racked up, Miss Hologram. Miss Jem, and is your last name
If
Hologram?
that is your real name.
It's on my passport, Jem Hologram. How does Jem go to different countries if, like, her passport only says, like, Jem on it? Like, do they have to make up a fake name for
no,
Jem?
I never thought of that! Oh. The worst thing I've ever heard in my life. She doesn't have a birth certificate. She doesn't exist.
The cop and Maria ask how Jem is going to prove that Maria stole the jewels, and just then we have a robot that I don't remember seeing before, but it's got like a chainsaw and a hammer and shit, and it breaks down the mirror wall, and a bunch of jewels come exploding from behind the wall for some reason.
So, whoops! They take the cuffs off of Jem, and then the robot cop lassos Maria.
Yeah, Maria is almost like slippery enough to get away from the 3 Charlie Adler cops, but the robot, the stop you're under arrest robot, whatever the fuck its name was, sculpture, shoots a rope from its chest or something and lassos Maria.
It shoots
yes.
the gun!
It shoots Maria in the back!
You killed her! Got really tragic really fast.
Damn it, no more police robots!
And then they have a fun, sorry we arrested you, Jem. You still ran away from the police, though.
But nope, that's okay. They're just like, we're gonna take Maria. You guys, whatever, do whatever you need to do. We fade back to Fitz's loft.
Talk about your feelings, I guess.
We fade back to Fitz's loft where Fitz is talking about his feelings, basically confessing his love for Jem. And Jem goes, oh no, there's someone else. Someone else being, you know, Jerica's boyfriend, or...
What I wrote was, it would never work out. I fucking hate you.
Also true. Yes. And Fitz decides that because he can't work alongside somebody he loves, that it would be agony, he's just like, you know what, I quit.
The happy ending. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I know. But I believe in broken contracts.
I just suggested he should make a Jem sculpture robot. He should just make a Jem robot. He should just make the pizzazz robot from Give Me a Gimmick.
That would also be hard to work beside.
Jem also says that she knows someone who thinks Fitz is a genius, but we hold off on that, and because the episode ends after I believe in happy endings, maybe I missed something. Usually I'm pretty thorough with my notes, but, like...
Yeah, we don't get to that.
Like, I don't know if
maybe she was talking about Video and Anthony Gilliam, but they fucking bolted.
No, they're gone. They're back in LA. So, whatever. Song number 2 of the evening, I Believe in Happy Endings, which, because we had so many false starts, we're just gonna play the entire thing for you anyway.
Also, the music video was so damn boring.
So, Kristen, you were right. This music video is fucking boring because, much like last episode, we have basically nothing to talk about, so we may as well have just played the song.
Yeah, boring concert music video. The highlight of it all is that Jem keeps the microphone in front of her fucking mouth. So that's good.
She's got to do that because there's a lot of that going on.
It's beautiful.
There's lots of close-ups of Jem in the song. It's like a lot of really, really tight close-ups on Jem. There's nothing else that there's nothing else that I have about the song anyway, other than that Aja is wearing the triangle jacket, and that's it.
Which is great.
Which is great, of course. And that's pretty much, that's the end of the episode. We get an encore of Surprise, Surprise, and we get an encore of I Believe in Happy Endings, which we literally just saw 2 minutes ago. That episode, I think, like you said at the beginning of the episode, Kristen, because we know what happens, it's more tolerable, but it's still way, way terribly stupid and baffling.
again, now that I know that there's a connection to Renaissance Woman, it makes a little bit more sense.
I mean, Gem and Company were wanted fugitives. They were fucking Harrison Ford in The Fugitive for the entire third segment.
On the run.
Why did they have to risk their careers for some dude that we barely know? Why did they do that?
Like, they were well aware that he was kind of a scumbag, and they were like, he didn't do it, he's too stupid.
What if he actually stole the jewels? What then, huh? Would they have just been like, time to go to jail?
Well, that's the end of the series.
Whatever, I'm not worried about it. Now's the point in the evening where we list off all of the fun contact things where you can reach us. You follow us on the Twitter machine at the CWTAPod. You can follow me at Octopus, that is AWKTAPUS.
You can follow me at FunnyGirlTM, like trademark.
You can find us on the iTunes, on the SoundCloud, on the Stitcher Radio. Leave a rating, give a review, do whatever you feel like. You can also reach us, CWTApod at gmail.com, where you can tell us all about your modern art masterpieces, or how to avoid police pursuit long enough to vindicate a friend accused of a crime. I know that's something that I would like to learn. Next week is the final episode of Season 1, Glitter and Gold. It's not terribly significant, if I remember correctly. I mean, it's mostly a means to shill the Glitter and Gold toys that are coming out. Rio has a gold tuxedo. Not, it's just because it's the season finale, we don't want to give away too much. Ooh, Kimber might die or something. I don't know. But yeah, get ready for that. So for the Can't We Talk About podcast, I am Joe.
I'm Kristen.
And join us next week where we will finish off Season 1 of Gem and the Holograms.
Checks in the mail.